I am married to my wonderful husband. We met 41 years ago. We're about ready to celebrate our 36th wedding anniversary. I was 16 when we met, 16 going on 17. We live in Albany. We have 2 adult children. Our son Stephen is almost 34, and our daughter Lisa is 32. And combined, there are, and when our son gets married in May, at the end of May, there'll be a total of 10 grandkids, as his fiance has got 4 little boys from her first marriage. So my husband's a self-employed carpet installer, works hard, works 5, 6, 7 days a week. My background is financial planning, investments, real estate, and I've got a huge bio. It's amazing. When I put it together, I was shocked at what all the things I've done. I'm running because it's time that we have Main Street Americans. Somebody who really understands what the majority of Americans go through in their everyday lives. When this country was founded, our founders believed strongly in the citizen politician. Somebody who was involved in their community, had their families, businesses, worked, and then if they felt that they should go serve at the federal level for a limited period of time, return back to their communities. When we have people that get entrenched into the political culture, they lose touch with what's going on out there. So they really wanted to have more of that, what we would refer to today as that Main Street American ideal.
Yeah, that is where it stays, we the people.
Yes.
And because we have people that have gone into politics and maybe somewhat average and, maybe upper income or maybe even rich.
Right.
Well, now they're extremely rich. And there's a problem with that. It means that they're in this system that they found a way to profit from. And so, we need somebody with morals. And I know that it's become very difficult for people, even if they do have morals, to say, I'm a Christian and I actually walk out my faith, or I am very pro-life. I know this is a liberal state, but I'm still conservative and I'm proud of it. A lot of people will say, well, I'm more of a moderate, or I'm, they just keep their faith in the background. And that's wrong because they're not being genuine.
Exactly. It's time that we have, as you mentioned, people that are bold enough, and I believe me, I'm pretty bold, I'm pretty gutsy, to run in this race and to stand firm on their value system. I'm of the belief, and there was an informal poll done once by a former news anchor out of Eugene, at my prompting, by the way, after a conversation we had, and I said, Rick, no, people want somebody that's going to draw a line in the sand. But this is my values, and I'm not going to cross over it. Well, he disagreed. So he put that on his Facebook page. Of the people that actually answered the question, every one of them said, yes, I want to know where somebody stands. So it wasn't a matter of that I agreed or disagreed with them. It was that I know where they stand.
Yeah.
There's not this, well, today I'm for it, tomorrow I'm against it. I voted for it, but I was really against it. They want to know your yay is yay, your nay is nay.
Yep.
And that's what people are looking for.
Yep. And when people begin to realize that the media distorts information to try to manipulate the person, then people can actually think for themselves.
Right.
But I don't know. I think, unfortunately, more and more people are looking to Hollywood for their entertainment and their answers. It seems to be getting worse, not better. But also more and more people also want truth. There's
people
more.
Want
there's
the
a hunger
truth
for that.
But we've got to have people in Washington, D.C. that are going to go, you know what, I'm taking an oath
Yeah.
to uphold the Constitution.
Yeah.
Yes, your word of honor, that's a bond, but yet people are violating that oath almost every day that are in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Why in the world can a politician get by with putting their hand on the Bible and say, I swear to uphold the Constitution, and then, well, how about the next day over the phone, talk to the UN and say, by the way, we're for that small arms treaty. We're going to try to make this happen. I got to manipulate
violation.
I got to manipulate the American folks and try to do some things in the background, but we're gonna get this going. So, which is what Obama did.
It's exactly what he did, and it didn't pass, thank God. but there's verbiage in the Constitution that people try to twist, and you need to go back to read what the original intent was. Our founders were very prolific writers. Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers are great examples as they went back and forth in public dialogue of what they were thinking. So it says in here that no treaty shall be supreme is really what it says, but the way that it's written, people are interpreting it to say that treaties take supremacy over our Constitution, but that's not what they were saying. This is the law of the land, the Constitution.
Yep.
One of the biggest questions that people want to know, and this is something that you don't know, will not know for sure about 3 of the other 4 candidates. People want to know, well, Jo Rae, how do we know that you're not going to get taken in and sell out?
Yeah.
And it's a valid question because it happens. I already have experience. As a financial advisor, the investment products that I used, mutual funds, annuities, and insurance products, all these firms have their reps, and their job, just like a lobbyist, was to call on me and have me start selling their product. So they would take me out to wine and dine me. Well, I'm a cheap date because I don't drink, so they would dine me. I always try to find the most expensive place for them to take me, but I live in Albany, and you know, it's like one of the most expensive places here in McMinnville. But I always said to them, I think you're a great person, but your product has got to be at least as good as the product that I'm already using. The returns have got to be at least as good as for me to even consider making a change. And they would say, but you're going to get paid more money. I didn't care because it wasn't my money. It's the client's money. And I never once violated that. So when we have these lobbyists come, it's not my money. It's the people's money.
Yeah, and that's where we get the importance of electing people with not just faith, but strong faith that's not going to be wishy-washy is so incredibly important. The fact that we, you know, as Americans have decided it doesn't matter what a person's faith is. And, you know, excuse me, you know, if somebody, you know, says they're a Christian and they don't act like it, you know, they're pro-choice, for instance, then they're also going to not worry about if they lie a little bit,
Right.
or if they take a bribe a little bit. I mean, or if they steal. Faith, strong faith matters in how the official is going to treat we the people.
Exactly.
It matters.
It matters. And so when we see people that are already elected, and one of my opponents is elected, and he has been challenged on his voting record, let's just be honest, it's out there, it's been all over the media, and I've challenged him on it, vote your values. That's the thing, is vote your values. See, John Adams, one of our great founding fathers, said, I'd rather be right than stand with the majority. He'd rather stand on his value system than waver. Anytime, and you just said it, Veronica, anytime that you give a little, they've got you. In the political arena, if you go, you know, this time, okay, it's against my value system, I'm going to vote for it anyway, you just lost.
Yep. So what I want to do is I want to get kind of to a letter, because you're kind of talking about it a little bit, and then get to some of your issues.
Okay, great.
And the letter, basically, within the letter, I can't read the whole thing, but this man wants to, he's saying, I don't really see the difference between Republican and Democrats anymore, and he has a valid point. He was also questioning my belief that capitalism brings freedom, whereas and the government restricts freedom, because in his mind, or at least, and I don't want to assume that I understand, you know, exactly what he's thinking, but from what I get from his letter, if a government can take the money, bring the money in, and they actually care about the people, and they're willing to kind of divvy it out, you know, in a fair way, that would bring freedom. Now, you know, if we can trust our government to do that, well, I suppose so, but I wouldn't, as a capitalist business owner myself, we wouldn't have worked hard as a business owner. I mean, we would have worked hard, but we worked hard. We worked, when we first got started, at least 15 hours a day. without getting paid anything. If I was in a communist country, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that. Capitalism does give people the urge to do something more. I read a great book called The 5,000-Year Leap a few years ago, and they talk about, because of the way this country was founded, where people were encouraged to go out and build a business, that they realized, wow, I get a return on my investment of time and energy. And that time and energy brought them a lifestyle that they chose. And that's the great thing in a capitalist society, is that with less government regulation, you have the right to choose how you define success. Is that success like Bill Gates, where you build a mega corporation that employs thousands upon thousands of people? Or is that success like my husband, where he goes to work, installs carpet in somebody's home or business, and comes home to relax with his family and provides for his family? See, in America, we get to choose. What do we want? We should get to be able to keep more of that money that we make and then spend it where we want to spend it. When we give it to the government to decide for us, the government ends up treating us like children.
Well, think of one communist country, and when we talk about the opposite of capitalism, it's communism.
Right.
And that's why there's a lot of the powers that be are communists.
Right.
Yeah. So that they're feeding this misinformation.